Welcome back to Where Blades Walk. The big question we're asking this week is, should Sheffield United be doing better than they currently are? A 1-1 draw away at Norwich is not a bad result, some say. But if you want promotion, others aren't happy about it. We've got Sam and Connor back to discuss it. What's your view? Let us know in the comments below. Here is Where Blades Walk. Love hearing that song, regardless of the results. Welcome back, Sam, Connor, and if you are new to this debate, we are just one of many Sheffield United content across the internet, but with the shortest and most compact, comprehensive view of all things SUFC. Welcome, Sam. Welcome, Connor. How was your trip to Carrow Road? Connor, did you enjoy that one?
Yeah, the worst thing about Norwich is travelling there. To be fair, last time I went, when we were in the Premier League, we won 2-1. Even when we won, it just still felt such a drag to get home after. But I mean, overall, I suppose, like I say, 1-1 draw away. You can't really complain about a point. I think we played well first half. Second half, not so much. I think they were probably the better team. They were a bit more dangerous on the counter attack. We're a bit vulnerable to that, especially simple ball over the top seemed to cause us a few problems quite a few times. But on the whole, point away, like I say, I think we can just take that, happy that we're still unbeaten, and go for 3 points in the next game.
Okay, we'll get into the game a little bit more in a second. Thank you, Connor. Also, this week, of course, it's transfer deadline day, so we're not only asking these two who and what should be signed by Friday. This will be a great window for Sheffield United, but we are also asking you in the comments, what's the best transfer deadline day or week signing, last minute signing, that the Blades have ever made, or the worst as well? I'm sure Sam and Connor can probably think of a couple of bad ones in there as well, but what's the best one? And we'll get these two to give you their views on that at the end of this content. Right, Sam, who stuck out for you then in terms of performances at Norwich?
I think Harry Souttar is just a magnet towards the ball. He just seemed, I know he was slightly out of position for their goal, but other than that, I think anything aerial, he dominates. I think he showed quite a wide, where quite a lot of passing. His distribution, they're pinging a few 30, 40, 50 yarders. Other than that, yeah, Cooper looked all right. It's a tough debut to make, especially away at Norwich.
Yeah.
But
Did he have much to
I
do,
think it was one of
Cooper?
those games.
Did he have much to do?
I think if you're being critical, which we are, he could have done better for their goal. He seemed to come out and somehow make himself smaller. A few dodgy passes, but overall, he didn't really have anything other than the goal. I think he made 1 or 2 saves.
Connor, it'll come as no surprise to you that, again, some of the criticism is coming from some of the formations and the substitutions that were made. Is there anybody that you'd be highly critical of that you think is just not working for at the moment? And Kiefer Moore we'll come on to in a minute because there's lots of comments about him. But anyone else deserve criticism?
No, I mean, the thing is, at the start of the season, it's everyone, especially the new players, they've got to come in, they've got to understand the way Wilder wants them to play, all the tactics, all the little ins and outs, building chemistry with whatever partner it is. Obviously, we're good in terms of like Gus and O'Hare, they play together, so they've already got that chemistry and they know what each other are going to do. That's just what everyone else needs to build. And I don't think there's any point singling people out. At the end of the day, Kiefer Moore scored 1 in 3. If he did that for the rest of the season, he'd get 15 goals. For a big target man, what else he brings to the team, not just goals. 15 goals wouldn't be a bad contribution at the end of the day. And on the whole, I don't think there was much really we could have done in terms of changing, especially at the minute. We haven't got a lot of options. Some of the players aren't fully fit. They need that time to get up to full fitness before we can put them in the team. Like Raksake, that's the main thing people are going to say, oh, bring him on. But for me, Brooks was one of our best players. So, and especially the right hand side. Overall, I thought Gilchrist and Brooks, they were both quality. And I think, given that time, I think maybe in a month's time or so, but especially at the end of the window, and we've got them extra players in, I think we'll do really well.
Okay. Here's some takes from the game. Here's the very best of social media following Norwich 1, Sheffield United 1. Okay, Sam. Wilder has the most boring style of football I've seen, says Alex. Being an attacker, bringing on attacker to sit back, draws don't get you promoted. I know it's a hard game, but it was a stupid substitution. There's a few like this as well. I think every time there was a draw, Wilder's going to get it. But is this harsh?
Yeah, I'd say so massively. I know everyone's got their own opinion, but to say he's got the most boring style of football he's seen, like I remember back in the Neil Warnock days where it were route one, bang. So I quite like this new formation we've got. I think it does suit us and it will suit us. Obviously, like Connor's just said, when players gel and get used to playing with each other. The draws don't get you promoted. I think they play a bigger part in than what people think. If we're to come away there with no points, but we've come away with one, add them up towards the end of the season, and I think it'll be a result we look back on and we'll take.
Okay. Connor, you've already mentioned about keeper. Well, why do you think? Can you see why? And this Spike Island was not on his own with this tweet about keeper being the worst job he's ever seen, but there's lots of criticism for him. Can you understand why some of the fan base are already on his back?
I think he just, people seem to have this idea when we signed him, he's going to be unreal, but especially with being at Ipswich last season, he hasn't got promoted. He got like a goal every 2 games. I think it was like 7 in 14. And obviously, if he can replicate that form for us, great. But that was a short spell. Can you do it over a full season? It's a different game. And the thing with it is, he hasn't really had a lot of balls into the box suited for him. Most of the crosses seem to go over his head or hit the first man. He had a couple opportunities. I think other than the Preston game when he missed the sitter, other than that, he hasn't really had a lot to work on. And like I say, just over time, team build some chemistry and figure out the best way to fit everyone into the team. I think we'll see a lot more to come from him.
Right. Fair comments at all. Sam, this is a little bit more optimistic. Kane says, I think if we're able to get Heyman more central and better quality up front, more offers very little. I think we needed some pace up front to run in behind. It's a whole new team that's getting used to each other. Also a new style of play, as you've mentioned, for the original players. We will be fine. This Heyman more central thing comes up week after week. Not going to do it, is he?
It's one of them, yeah. Hamer is probably more suited central, but then so is O'Hare. They can both play basically the same positions, so I don't see the Hamer O'Hare thing being a real issue. They both do a job and are both incredibly very good. Like I said, yeah, like we keep saying, just need to take some time, get used to everything, and like Connor said, in a month or two, I think it'll be a completely different team.
Connor, the last one here links into the next question I was going to ask you both about signings. Kingy suggests that you absolutely need a left winger and a centre forward, that you're actually lacking in quality, Gilchrist being superb, which I already mentioned that about Alfie. So to ask you directly, Connor, for this to be a great window, I think it's already been a good window for United. For it to be a great window, what needs to happen before Friday when the window shuts for you?
Well, I think first thing is obviously, is anyone else going to leave? We've been linked. I've seen Sousa linked with a few clubs. Anel is the obvious one that's been linked with Wolves and Ipswich recently. Obviously, if he goes, we're going to have to bring somebody in. Everyone's been saying Chris Metham. We'll get linked with him the past couple of windows. I think I'd be happy if we could have him for Championship. In terms of what else we need, obviously, definitely, if we could bring Gus into the middle, for me, take O'Hare out onto the bench, get a good left winger in that is a proper left wing. We've been linked with Mikey Johnston, that was at West Brom, had a decent loan there. We also got linked with Sarmiento, but I think he's now on his way to Burnley, so I don't think there's anything in that. But if we could get that in, and then for me, the last thing is just another striker, just to add that options. You need 4 or 5 strikers. There's always going to be one out of form, maybe one injured. You need them options, and just have a different kind of player from Kiefer Moore. You want a target man, you want a fast player, you want these different roles just to suit, depending on obviously what opponent we've got coming up.
Sam, anything missing from that list, or does that about summarise it nicely?
That's pretty much bang on. Yeah, we're crying out for a left winger, and again, yeah, another striker. So yeah, Connor's ticked every box, I'd say.
Okay. Deadline day signings in the comments below. Please put who the best one and worst one has been. We'll get to them in a second. Before that, we're going to talk about Watford. Never many goals in this game. It's been 1-0 to the home side. The last times you've played each other. Sunday TV as well. Nice bit of viewing for us. Connor, how do you see this one going? Would you take a draw now, given their start?
Not for me. I think every time you're at home, it doesn't matter who you're playing, however good form they're in, you want 3 points. You want to make your home games your fortress, where you're getting 3 points all the time. Teams are scared to come. I think for me, especially, I think one of the big things that needs to improve in terms of United is atmosphere. We seem to have a good maybe 5 or 10 minutes at the start of a game, and then it sort of goes dead. Even when we was 2-0 up against QPR, I think one of the main things is if we can get that good atmosphere going, we can really help push us on. And I did have a look at Watford's results. Obviously, they've won every game so far. I definitely don't think it's going to be a 1-0 come Sunday. I think it will be a very tight game. For me, if I had to go for anything, I'd say a 2-1 United.
Okay. They don't concede many either. Cleverly's got them nicely snug at the back. Sam, do you see this being a difficult one for United?
Yeah, I can see it being similar to Norwich on Saturday, where I think both teams will be up there at the end of the season. But like Connor said, we're at home. You want to be winning every home game. Like you said, make teams uncomfortable. They don't want to come here. But I think Sunday will be probably our toughest game this season.
Fair enough then. Predictions in the comments below as well. If you're a Sheffield United fan that hasn't yet subscribed, please do so. We really love making this content for you. And if you're a fan that wants to join us as well, discussing games, then we'd love to hear from you as well. Drop us an email, and you can find our email address in the description below. Right, Connor, what's the best deadline day signing or last minute signing that you can remember that's had an impact on the game?
I think recently, I'm not 100% sure if it was deadline day, but I know we got Morgan Gibbs-White really close to the end of the window the other season. And obviously, if we didn't have him, there was a good chance we were bottom end, maybe even fighting relegation with how important he was to the team. Obviously, he helped bring like the likes of Ndiaye on, and they formed such a good partnership, and that brought him on to become obviously what he was. For me, he's pretty much the only one I can think of, to be fair. I can't think of many others. I can think of a lot of last minute ones we've got rid of, but in terms of bringing ones in, I'd probably say Gibbs-White, definitely.
Okay. Sam, can you remember any good or bad that have happened in the last week, last day, last minutes?
Again, sorry.
Can you think of anyone that's come in last minute that's been good or bad? We seem to have lost you there, Sam, a little bit. Oliver Burke, Connor, seem to remember. Was it West Brom that he came from? Just before the transfer deadline day. He did all right for you, didn't he? I know he's not one that'll go down in folklore.
I wouldn't really say all right. I mean, the only good thing I can remember him doing was scoring the winner at Old Trafford. It was such an awful goal to concede, but he did actually score it and got credited for it. But other than that, it was awful. He just seemed like his legs worked quicker than what his brain actually did. And then he's gone on to many other clubs since, and it just seems to be he just jumped from club to club at the moment. And his fashion sense was very questionable as well.
Yeah, his Instagram is better than his football abilities.
Definitely.
Birmingham fans will hardly know. All right then, I think we've got Sam back. Sam, can you hear us now? No, can't hear us. All right, never mind. We'll catch you both next week. Enjoy the Watford game. We'll certainly be watching it, and then we'll catch you next week.
Yeah,
Thanks
nice
for
one.
watching.
Cheers, Mark.